Dentists being delusional. They think that if they learn more clinical skills, that it will solve their business problems.
Day 40, change health down, but I don't see them coming back.
You shared a stat about burnout in the medical profession. Let's talk about that one.
Proximity said that 4 out of every 5 healthcare practitioners are experiencing burnout. The fact that 60 to 65% are looking to get out of it, what does that leave us with as a healthcare industry in the United States?
Everybody's feeling burnt out, right? Like anxiety's up, burnout's up, people don't feel fulfilled. So is this just a reflection of just overall society of fulfillment? Like people aren't happy. That's not debatable. Welcome back to another episode of Dental Rift. I'm your co-host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help dentists just like you level the playing field against the big DSOs so you can compete and grow the way that you want.
My name is Tanner Applegate. I'm the CEO of Unified Dental. We are a single sign-on platform built specifically for dental to solve the problems in a way that no other platform can.
Let's go. I changed it on Tanner. I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I've only practiced. I only said that 3 times before this one. So this is
I'm
very,
surprised
very
that you took out the DSO as a customer. Now the DSO is the enemy.
No, well, it depends what kind of DSOs. The big DSOs, these guys that have thousands of locations, that's who we're competing against, right? So if you have 50, 20, 30 locations, you're not in the same category as a 2,000 location DSO. Anyways, okay, so a couple topics. We're going to talk about Change Health. We're going to talk about why dentists are burning out, and we're going to talk about why dentists are delusional. And which one you want to start with Change Health?
Day 40, change health down. We've talked about this before, but I don't see them coming back. So we might count this list forever.
I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. So what does that mean for the people who weren't paid? Like, what does that exactly mean?
No, I think that the insurance carriers are still owed it. But as far as Change Healthcare being the air traffic control of like, hey, here's where this claim goes, they're not going to be doing that anymore. And so I think that what that means is that they're now being transmitted through other channels. In the dental space, it's other insurance clearinghouses. And so that's the Vines of the world and the dental exchanges of the world.
So who wins in this scenario?
Oh, dental exchange and Vine for sure.
So they're just mopped up the market.
They're cleaning up.
And then how do they make money on this? Do they get a little cut of the transaction each time?
Each transaction, yeah, you pay for each transaction typically.
So it's like credit card. It's like the credit card business. Every time someone swipes a credit card, you get a little cut. Whew, man, and this is so interesting.
And the more that you're on their ecosystem, the more you can upsell them to other SaaS products that you guys have too.
Yep.
So Change Healthcare used to be in the big ones, right? The Shines of the world, the Pattersons of the world used to be all via Change Healthcare. And as soon as they went down, they're like, oh, we got to solve this immediately for our clients. And so they jumped over to other clearinghouses.
Hey, got an important announcement for you. We are hosting the 2nd annual Full Arch Advantage event where you learn to create, convert, and close more full arches so your office can grow the way that you want. This is going to be in partnership with BioHorizons, and this is our 2nd year. But the important part is it's going to be virtual, so you don't have to fly out, buy hotels, travel with your team. You can just register and block off the days and watch virtually. And right now we have early bird pricing. It's never going to be cheaper than right now. I don't even have a discount code because it's so cheap. It's only $199 right now to register. And it's for your team. It's for your dentists. It's for your treatment coordinators, your dental assistants, and your marketing managers. And you're going to learn a ton of stuff to grow. Last year's event had a 74 NPS score, which is amazing. And the feedback was really, really good. So if you're looking at leveling up, we have a ton of new content, a ton of new automations and things that you can add to your practice to really grow. And we're going to be going over a lot around sales and executing on the phones to make sure that you can grow the way that you want. So don't miss this. Go to Full Arch Advantage right now and sign up. This price will not be around for long. Dude. Talk about losing money. I can't even imagine. Heads are rolling over there. All right. Well, let's talk about you shared a stat about burnout in the medical profession. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, it actually stems. It's ironically timed. So I went out to one of my first DSO partners. We stay in touch all the time. So he still is in Denver. We connect, and we probably connect for lunch probably once every quarter. And as we were chatting with him, this is a guy that has been very successful in the dental space. And he's down to one office. He's sold off a lot of his offices as well. And I was just kind of like, what's up? What's like next in your life? And his thought was, well, I'm going to finish kind of building up this office for a period of time and at that date, I'm going to go in and sell it off, but I really want to get outside of the chair, right? I want to do something that generates me money out of this chair. And it was an interesting concept. So we've kind of brainstormed around it. Maybe I'll come back and ask you the same question that we talked about. But what was interesting, though, is as I was doing a little bit of research for this, Doximity recently did a study of this for healthcare, right? So healthcare providers, specialists, and general practitioner. And what Doximity said that 4 out of every 5 healthcare practitioners are experiencing burnout, which is normal. Like I would have guessed that. Like that doesn't sound surprising to me, but this is up significant amounts from like 2021, and pre-pandemic it was up. I mean, so 80% now. 2021 it would have been at like 70%, so it's definitely got a huge increase even since then. But even pre-pandemic it was like 30%. So it's a sizable size from before COVID.
2.5 times, yeah.
Yeah. But was the interesting number that stood out to me was that 80% of them were experiencing burnout, with about 60%, 60 to 65% saying that they are actively looking for a way to get out of their profession. Right. And I'm like, boom, that's a huge number, 60 to 65%. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if that replicated in the dental space, right? They didn't do this on dental practitioners, but the fact that 60 to 65% are looking to get out of it, what does that leave us with as a healthcare industry in the United States? But just in general, like right now, like as a kid, I felt like when you said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Half of the kids said they wanted to be a police officer, and half of them said they want to be a medical provider.
Yeah.
Well, if you start creating this negative stigma around being a medical provider, what does that do? Like, does nobody go into that industry, or is it really kind of like the pay you're getting paid so high is the golden handcuff that keeps people coming back for more? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I don't think like the medical profession is going to collapse in like tomorrow because people want to get out, because where else are you going to go, right? If you think burnout's bad, Tanner, when you're a medical professional and you just have to show up and do the work, which is hard. I can't do it, nor would I want to do it. But and it's high stress. But imagine trying to run a business in that field. Like imagine
What's
trying to run.
Interesting though about that, Gary, is that in the study, those that were business owners actually experienced less burnout.
That's crazy, bro.
Isn't that fascinating?
That's crazy.
So they're feeling the associates are feeling overworked, which I completely understand. Like if you are not a business owner and you're getting loaded down with patients, you're just like, this sucks. What the heck? As a business owner, you're in control of that. And so really you're in control of the destiny of like, okay, here's how busy I want my schedule to be or to not to be. And you don't control that, I think, as an associate as much as you are as a business owner.
So do you think this is more, because here's the other thing, Tanner, to take into consideration. Everybody's feeling burnt out, right? Like anxiety's up, burnout's up, people don't feel fulfilled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So is this just a reflection of just overall society of fulfillment? You know what I mean? Like people aren't happy. Like that's not debatable.
One thing that I've realized when I went the dental route without the dental degree, and as I was sitting there working with these dentists, I quickly realized that I chose the right path because I could never be a practitioner day in, day out doing the same like 5 to 10 procedures, because that type of routine would kill me. Right. And I think that for the business owner, it's interesting because, yeah, you can go in and make money chair side, but you have this outlet now of doing things outside of the chair to be able to generate money as well. And so
that's so interesting.
I think that it's interesting.
That is really interesting. That is a great point. Yeah, that's hard. So yeah, but I don't think people, you can't just leave. If you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you can't just pick up and pack and leave. Like it takes time to do that.
Right.
Because you have bills and stuff, right? You have car notes, home loans, kids. So you have a
student
style.
Debt's really the thing that kills you. You can get into the fact and create your lifestyle low enough where you could exit, but it's those student loans where you're paying back $5,000 a month plus that you can't do that if you go and switch to $100,000, $150,000 a year job.
Yeah, just have the government forgive it, and then you're good.
And that would create ripples, man. If you didn't have the student loan and a bunch of people trying to leave the industry, wow.
Yeah, that's something that they probably haven't thought about, right? Is like, hey, what if we forgive all the student loan and all the doctors leave the industry? You know what I mean? Like there's so many. That's why it's so crazy when the government, anytime a government gets involved in anything, they mess it up, right? Like it's just like it's like, oh, we'll just make this decision and it's going to make this impact, because why do we have high college costs to begin with? It's because of government loans. Government subsidies on the loans have driven up the cost to like 10x what it used to be. I just did a podcast with somebody that said, man, when I was a kid, we went to dental school. It was like $50,000 or something like that. It was absolutely, it was like 10%. So anyways, very, very interesting stuff. You want to move on to the next topic around dentists being delusional?
Hit me.
Okay. So I was just on, no, I'm not saying this. I just want to put it out there. It's what I was told by a dentist. He said, Gary, and this is somebody who runs a dental practice. He's active in his dental practice. He also teaches courses. He teaches business stuff. He's one of the kind of do-all dentists, right? He said, dentists are delusional, Gary. They think that if they learn more clinical skills, that it will solve their business problems. And I was like, oh, that hit me hard, because I know dentists love to learn, but a lot of times they think that the clinical is going to solve, all the other problems that are going on in my business. And that just, it hit me so hard. I'm going to post about this on social media because I want people's feedback on it. But what are your thoughts when you hear that?
No, I agree. I mean, you can definitely tell the difference between the clinically minded dentist and the emotional intelligence minded dentist, right? If you were to say any of those skills, I think that the one that you got to get up is the emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence helps with your team better. It helps run your marketing and sales better, as far as like, hey, when you connect face to face with somebody in person, right, you're able to communicate better what's going on with their problems and help them accept the treatment that you're presenting to them, et cetera. And yeah, a lot of these people that don't have the emotional intelligence, they think, yeah, it's the handpiece. I got to go fix a handpiece. I'm not doing enough in the handpiece, et cetera. And
yeah, so when you say emotional intelligence for the audience, like what do you mean by that?
I mean, emotional intelligence is, I purposely chose that because it is the group all around things that are fluffy in the business world, right? Like going in and saying, hey, you have a ton of work that needs to get done in your mouth. If you're that awkward, super intelligent doctor that just stands there and says that, they're gonna be like, all right, peace, I'm out. And they're never gonna get that work done. But if you can sit down and like connect with them on an emotional level and say, okay, I understand your fears, your concerns, what drives you, et cetera. Here's why you need to get this done, and help kind of break it down and make it easier for them to connect to me, that's a no-brainer. But that's where dentists don't naturally gravitate towards. They're not people all the time. There are tons of dentists that are, don't get me wrong there. But I think that when you look at a class body of dentists in dental school, and this is actually interesting because it's, from what I've heard, obviously not having gone myself, this mindset actually comes from the dental school staff, where they're not very personable to begin with. They're sitting there teaching clinical skills that they're the be all end all. And that's what dentists start picking up from their education, is that it's the clinical skills that will make it whether I'm a good or bad dentist.
Yeah. And the wild thing, the kind of something that I learned early on in dental when I started marketing, was we had an office send us, one of the team members sent us a picture, and it was before and after. And it looked amazing, Tanner. Like the before, teeth didn't look good. After, teeth looked very good. So we put it up on the website, and the dentist absolutely lost it. How could you put up a picture like this? I'm like, well, number one, your team sent it to us, but number two, it looks good. And he's like, I'm going to be the laughing stock of the dental community in our city. And he started breaking down the smile, like, this is this and this is, and I'm like, okay, well, we're not making your website for all the dentists in your community. Like, if you want us to remove it, whatever, we will. But we're making this for the new patients that are coming in, mainly, right? The existing patients aren't going to go look at this page. This is mainly for new patients. And the before smile looked really bad, and the after smile looked really good. And so that's why we put it up. But it made me realize, like, dentists live in this world that is separate from where everybody else is living, because they see things in the smile and the teeth of people that just nobody else really sees besides dentists.
No, I agree. And that's true. I mean, it's interesting too, because this is something that I found a lot in the product, is that we were running into business issues with Unify early on, right? And my solution was, oh, well, we need to go and build more product, right? And so how often is that actually happening outside of dental too, where you guys are like, oh, well, we're not where we want to be as a marketing agency, and so maybe we need to go and offer different services. So we try and solve it with the clinical side of things, right?
Yeah.
Our clinical is product, your guys' clinical is new offerings.
Yeah.
And we hide the fact that, like, oh no, there's actually other issues at STEM here that we
Yes.
got to go
Yeah.
in and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
fix.
Okay. I follow you. Yes. So you can't, yes, there's the process, how you're presenting the how you're presenting the product, how people feel as they get the product, how quickly you can deliver the product, how sticky the product is. All of those things matter way more than adding another product, because adding another product just adds complexity. So if you have business, so now let's take that over to clinical. So if you have business issues and you're like, well, I'll just add a new skill set to my clinic, all you're doing is adding more complexity to your operation, which is already struggling.
It's not going to get the patient to actually close.
So good. Awesome, man. Well, good talking with you.
All right, peace.
Peace.